there is very much this idea that if you give up on online sports betting, online casino is somewhere around the corner.
Where are we kind of with legalization?
So we're legal in 38 states, DC, Puerto Rico, but we don't have legalization in California or Texas. So when you're looking at much of the country has legalized sports betting, but there's still some sort of big places out there with huge interest in sports that don't have legalized sports betting.
The states that haven't adopted it, why haven't they done it?
I always sort of explain it as the states where this was going to be easy, it's been done. And it's going to be easy in places where there isn't a stakeholder that either opposes gambling or opposes how this would roll out. And so if we look at California, the issue in California is not that California doesn't want sports betting. It's California has a large number of gaming tribes that have casinos. And back the last election cycle, there was a ballot initiative, competing ballot initiatives, and one would have allowed the tribes to have sports betting on their properties. The other would have allowed online companies to come in. And billions of dollars were spent defeating these two initiatives. And each ran at around 20% popularity. So there's huge money in this, and so there's huge interest in ensuring that in a state like California, it rolls out how the stakeholders want it to roll out. And when you have the gaming tribes in California and the online gaming industry going head to head, those are two very well resourced groups fighting over this. And what ended up happening was essentially just blowing the whole thing up.
The two were fighting so much they ruined it for both of them.
Yes. When we look at Texas, Texas has a lieutenant governor named Dan Patrick who is a staunch opponent of gambling. So even as many stakeholders in Texas, including the Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, has come out in support of legalizing this, they have never been able to sort of get past the lieutenant governor. When you look at other places, a state like Utah has a large Mormon population and so has a religious opposition to gambling. Every state has that sort of unique reason why they haven't crossed that line right now. And so certainly I think at some point, many of these states will legalize sports betting. The big question is what exactly will bring groups together to do this.
When you kind of look at it, like who's the bigger fish? Is it the casinos or is it the online?
In California, it's the casinos. And that's one of the big things that a lot of people don't understand with sports betting. You hear billions of dollars wagered, but really the revenue from that historically is about 5%. So casinos aren't making, running a sports betting business isn't the best casino game that you can offer. You can do much better offering slots or something else than sports betting. But a lot of people sort of foresee the legalization of online sports betting as a gateway to online casino. And so brick and mortar casinos, like those that many of the California-based tribes own, would be severely hurt if online casinos were to come in, especially run by groups other than themselves. So there is very much this idea that if you give up on online sports betting, online casino is somewhere around the corner. And that could really be devastating for a lot of these tribal communities that rely on gaming revenue to do a lot of things for tribal members.
Are there that many people gambling?
So the amount of money being wagered is in the $100 billion range.
That sounds like a ton of money. Is that a ton of money when you look?
That's a ton of money being wagered. And I think it's more than a lot of people realized.
Have any states really like benefited from this? Like you could point to this state and say, you know what? This has actually really helped people out in that state.
I
Sounds like a no.
yeah. I mean, I don't think, if you are looking at states that have raised a lot of tax revenue from taxing sports betting, New York is at the top. They have exceeded their expectations, brought in more than $1 billion in tax revenue. They could undoubtedly do a lot of stuff with $1 billion. New York is a big state, so it doesn't go as far as it would in, say, Oklahoma. But $1 billion is nothing to shake a stick at. Is that offsetting everything else? Is that a great win? I don't know. I think it's probably premature to say. If you look at some of the other states, like if you look at like a Delaware or Rhode Island, has it been worth it for them? I don't know. That $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million. It's a lot to me, but it's not a ton of money in revenue to a state. And there's a lot of costs that come with this. I mean, you have to create some sort of regulatory agency to oversee this. Those people need salaries and they have travel expenses and things like that. So undoubtedly there are jobs that are created by this, but in terms of, I don't think it's some huge boon for states all over the country.
What do you think would have to happen in order to put it back in the bottle?
Maybe a fixed NFL game or a series of fixed NFL games. I think the NFL is really the only sport that could move the needle.
Do you think that any societal issues would do it? Or would it just have to be corruption within the sport itself?
Sadly, no. I don't think that we have the stakeholder groups representing those societal interests that would move the needle enough.
You think it's inevitable that all states do it? Except for Utah. Like, I feel like
Utah's
probably
the one
not
that
gonna.
We hold out there as unlikely. Eventually, everyone else